When we hear the words no-kill animal sanctuary, we picture exactly this: a final refuge, a place where vulnerable, unadoptable dogs are guaranteed a safe, peaceful environment to live out their natural lives. For years, individuals and overcrowded shelters placed their trust and their money in Miranda's rescue in Fortuna, California. They paid surrender fees with the strict understanding that their dogs would receive a lifetime of sanctuary care, or at the very least, a safe adoption into a loving home. Before we look closer at Fortuna, thanks to today's sponsor, Shasta Unfiltered. Scan the QR code below to support honest, local reporting in Northern California. In June of 2026, Humboldt County Sheriff William Hansel stepped up to a podium and broke that public trust. He announced that this supposedly safe haven was now the center of an active criminal investigation involving massive fraud and severe animal cruelty. The idyllic promise of Miranda's rescue was a carefully constructed illusion. It was an operation designed to exploit the vulnerability of the animals it took in and the deep compassion of the public who funded it. Between June 23rd and 25th, law enforcement moved onto the rescue's property to execute a pair of search warrants. Looking at this isolated rural landscape, you can see how activities here could easily remain hidden from neighbors and authorities. Investigators moved into an open field behind the facility and began to dig. To reach the bottom of the burial sites, they ultimately had to excavate trenches 12 to 15 feet deep into the earth. What they pulled from the dirt was horrifying. Search teams uncovered 117 intact canine remains, along with 29 distinct skulls and hundreds of scattered bones. Forensic veterinarians on the scene estimated these dogs were buried within a very tight window between January and April of 2026. To determine how these animals died, investigators took X-rays of 70 dogs right there at the gravesite. The scans revealed a consistent detail: bullet fragments lodged inside the animals, leading experts to conclude the dogs were killed by gunshot wounds. The search also pointed them toward a barn area on the property. Inside, they found a .22 caliber rifle, spent .22 shell casings, and blood spatter, all the physical markers of a designated execution site. Then there were the collars. Investigators recovered 661 dog collars from the property. Many of them still had metal ID tags attached, stamped with the names of pets whose owners thought they were safe. The extreme depth of the graves, the firearms, the sheer volume of bones, this evidence points entirely away from accidental neglect. It reveals a highly organized, systematic slaughter operation happening behind closed doors. This animated diagram shows the grim economics of the operation. On one side, providing a lifetime of food, shelter, and medical care for a dog is immensely expensive. On the other side, a single .22 caliber bullet costs pennies. Investigators allege the rescue accepted surrender fees to provide that lifetime of care and then killed the animals to keep the profit. This visualization shows intake records from January 2025 to April 2026, establishing a baseline of 918 dogs. Investigators found 116 adoptions, plus 45 dogs still alive. Stripping those 161 survivors leaves a massive void. 731 dogs are entirely unaccounted for. When you combine the influx of surrender fees with the mass graves out back, the business model becomes obvious. This was a high-volume disposal service wearing the mask of an animal sanctuary. The sheer scope of this operation has triggered a massive response. Local authorities have now pulled in the FBI, the USDA, and the California Attorney General's office to help untangle the conspiracy. Their next major task is identifying the victims. During the excavation, investigators recovered 91 microchips from the remains. Every scan provides a digital footprint, allowing authorities to trace these dogs back to the specific shelters and families who surrendered them. To fill in the remaining gaps, Sheriff Hansel issued an urgent plea. If you surrendered a dog to Miranda's rescue in the past year, they need to hear from you. You are asked to reach out to the tip line at hso@co.humboldt.ca.us and provide any microchip numbers, photos, or color descriptions you have. The physical digging in the fields of Fortuna is finished, but the difficult work of tracing the data and notifying grieving families is just getting started. This tragedy was allowed to happen because California is currently battling a severe pet overpopulation crisis. With limited access to spay and neuter services, legitimate municipal shelters are completely overwhelmed and desperate for space. That desperation forces shelters to rely on private rescues to take the overflow. Yet the state of California has no specific licensing or mandatory oversight requirements for private animal rescues. Anyone with a piece of land can claim the title of sanctuary. Law enforcement is pushing to fix that. Sheriff Hansel is directly calling on the state to advance Assembly Bill 631. If passed inside these walls, the bill would require all rescues and shelters to report detailed data on exactly how many animals come in and what happens to them afterward. We will keep monitoring this investigation as it progresses towards prosecution. Please like, share, and subscribe to help spread the word, and visit ShastaUnfiltered.com for ongoing updates on this case. Until legislators step up and mandate accountability, the system remains an open door for bad actors. As long as there is money to be made off overcrowded shelters, exploiters will find ways to take advantage of human compassion at the expense of the animals.